All right, everything is working. So let me put myself on live with Instagram at the same minute. And I believe you all can hear me if you're here on the Resonant Essentials YouTube channel because the mic is working today. Sometimes I like to be on with folks. And today is a beautiful day outside. The last 2 weeks, we've had some funky weather in the month of May. Sometimes a little cold, a little damp. The other day, I think it was Wednesday or Tuesday, I think it was. I got caught in the rain. Monday, I got caught in the rain literally almost twice. And it was funny because it was for about 15 minutes. It was a downpour, blustery wind, rain, and hail, or sleet, whichever one you want to call it. But it was rough. Thought I was being hit by golf balls. Peace, brother. How you doing? Yeah, it's being good to me today. Last couple of weeks is kicking me off. Well, today I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be wide awake and ready to rock and roll with a topic that kind of came to mind while I was doing my studies. And in essence, it was something that I needed to hear for myself, and I'm glad I heard it because it put me in a certain way where I wasn't constantly over analyzing, which is something I do all the time. So let me pop this to go live. Hopefully, my phone camera will stay up and not disappear on me. It always likes to shift. Well, anyway, and it's trying to shift now. Anyway, today's topic is if there is something you desire to have now, what would it be? If there's something that you desire to have right now in this moment, what would it be? And that could be anything. But before we get started, as the audience begins to get online and file in and grab a seat here at YouTube or Instagram, I'm Brother Francis E. Revels-Bey. I'm the originator of this Clear Blue Radiance podcast. I'm here usually every Thursday, and I try to come on at 1 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, but I've been known to come on at 1:30 or 1:15, 1:45, 2, or 2:30. Sometimes it happens that way. Uh, Over the years, as this happens, it's been about 4 years. I've been podcasting. I've done over 208, I believe, live podcasts, and I may be taking off in the 4 years. I haven't been on maybe about 6 times. And so that's pretty good coming on just once a week on a Thursday. Now, I've been a spiritual counselor for approximately 40 plus years, and I enjoy helping many people, such as yourself and anybody you might know, to gain greater clarity in their life and to discover what their purpose is. And some people know what their purpose is, but they're striving to move forward. I hear you, Stoke Culture. Sometimes we have to keep pushing, keep moving straight ahead, you know. And for you to be wanting your MSW degree, that puts you in two different ballparks, but all at the same time, because then you'd be working as a social worker from a higher level, showing the skills that you have, and then also having your private practice in the metaphysical world. And it can be done. It's just being persistent. Sometimes it's trying to find the right people. Sometimes it's networking. Sometimes it's just trusting in the universe that you're in the right place at the right time. And I could tell you that because I didn't know that I would be podcasting, over 50 some odd years ago. I didn't know that I was going to be a numerologist. I was a numerology person as a hobby. I was into metaphysics, psychic, spiritual stuff because of my late mother, who was quietly planting the seeds in my head. And I know it was when I started doing numerology as a hobby on Long Island, New York, and then later meeting up with Lloyd Strayhorn 4 years later in 1978. And I took a crash course. I mean, literally crash course. 4 Saturdays. Each Saturday was like 2.5 hours of him teaching me. And back in that day, he wasn't charging a lot of money to be able to teach me that. And I had already been involved, but I didn't know certain areas that he knew, that I knew that he knew, that I needed to be uh, get involved in, such as pinnacles and challenges, and the thing that he called birth key, a birthday number, key numbers. That was his concept. I had my own called the Angle of Destiny. And so meeting all these people at the old fashioned Tree of Life bookstore that used to be up on West 125th Street and Lenox Avenue, way up in Harlem, New York City, and Manhattan. So I did that. And then a year, I think after that course, I had showed him, excuse me, um, a bowling bag, literally full of handwritten numerology charts. And he read them and read them and read them. Then he tested me with his clients' names. And that's how I got involved in teaching up there and then doing psychic fairs. And as time went on, I got involved in other groups. So these things that we use, whether it's astrology, numerology, palmistry, handwriting analysis, crystal ball gazing, the use of crystals, reading with quartz stones and things, or any kind of stones on sacred geometrical layouts. However, we choose to do it, we're all helping people find themselves, find their paths, expand their vision so that they could assist others. Often we like to think that we're passing a baton, but I find myself like in the first Matrix movie, I'm passing the baton back to myself. So it's my higher self passing me the baton, and I'm giving it back to the higher self, which is then giving it back to me. So it's this constant interplay of energy. One of the things I've been working on is raising my energy. Now, sometimes you could do it through the way that you eat, other times through exercise, but the other time is how you actually feel about yourself. If you can feel good about yourself, that's in essence, you're raising up your vibration. And for people, some people wanted me to announce, would I ever turn this podcast into a course? And yes, I'm turning this. In fact, I finished my notes at the teacher's manual notes took about 8 type pages for myself, and the students will get a more streamlined one each week. They will get a lesson, but it's called Clear Blue Radiance is the Light Within, and I'm going to do it as an 8 week online course from July the 2nd, which is a Wednesday, to August 20th. And it's going to start at 6:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, which is 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So if people want information about it, and I'm stating it now, all they got to do is email me at iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com. That's iam.circleofgrace1 at gmail.com. And then that way I can give the more of the pricing and how to go about paying, and you can I can accept installments as well. Well, anyway, this particular topic kept coming to me because I kept thinking like some of the ancient, I won't say ancient, but the old teachings of the late Reverend Ike. And Reverend Ike would say some very interesting things. One of the things he would teach is you have to know what you want or desire before you can be, do, and have what you want. And he used to teach that all the time, to be, do, and have what you want. You have to be something. You have to be in the midst of something. You have to gather it, and then you got to know that you have it, and then you can then reach forward. You'll be able to do it and get what you want. And that was his way of saying it. Guy who's on the planet, excuse me, been burning incense up in here. Reverend Dr. Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith, he says you got to keep raising your vibration. You got to keep it as high as you can so it's not being lowered by limited thoughts and thinking process and limited feelings and harsh energy, negativity, anything that way. You got to keep your energy up high. And that's very important. Vibration is something that moves up and down, right and left, in and out, backwards and forwards from one point within a particular structure. We say a person has the right vibe or the right vibration because on the inside, they're actually producing that energy, going out in all possible directions from one point within themselves. And then you have the frequency, which is external, and that's the quality of the vibration, how bright the energy is when it leaves off your body and rolls up through your auric field and beyond your auric field. What kind of quality is it? How bright is it? That's the resonance, how bright that energy is. And often you can see it. We know that sometimes when you look at petrified trees, right? Or someone who's not doing well, their energy looks low, their aura looks darker, and it looks like they're kind of wilting away. Yes, as within, so without. So they're kind of wilting away, right? And the energy is dropping and it's getting lower. And then eventually it falls into other things and creates other patterns around themselves where they're not pushing forward or not stepping forward, but they're kind of turning within and having a hard time coming back out. So these are things that we all experience in our lives. And some people are doing it even without having any knowledge of occult sciences, any knowledge of parapsychology. They just don't have it, but they understand it on some kind of a level. Yes, yes. Working more consistent, more disciplined, more focused. And whatever we are saying is it becomes an active word. Just like we know a verb is a word of action, right? So whatever we are thinking, whatever we are saying, we are putting that out into the ethers around us. And this is why I'm beginning to understand more and more. When I used to practice so much Tai Chi when I was in college, and I'm talking about that's 50 years ago in college, had no idea that I was raising my energy. I didn't know that. And the people that were teaching me at that time, they were actually new students under someone else, and they were passing along information accordingly to their level of understanding. So they didn't know that they were actually talking about vibration and energy and quantifying that energy and then the quality of that energy. They didn't understand that. But we thought we did, and hey, we were open to it, right? I think they call it in Tai Chi Chuan. There's a actualization, the action of your chi. I think the word is Jing or Ying, which is Jing, and that is initiating the power so the recipient can feel it, whether it's a slow movement with the palm open or flexing all the muscles throughout the body and the arms and the hands at the same time. So it's like a strong domino effect, and a person can feel the energy pop out. You know, sometimes you're sitting in meditation, you could feel it come through your body. You could pop it out in a split second. You could feel the dynamics of the energy around you change. You feel tingling sensation from the nerves going through your muscles in your skin, right? And blood vessels. You feel all of that moving around. So, what I'm saying is, this lesson is, I want everybody to consider doing this every day, and they can do it several times a day. Is to kind of ask yourself, is there something that I desire to have right now? And the emphasis is on not only the something, but the have. Because you want to have it, you want to know that you have it. And how can you magnify the having, the sense of having in yourself? And if you knew what it was, what would it be? What would you choose? And the reason I'm saying that you can do this several times a day, because we are often doing it that many times a day. We're often thinking all the time. Everybody on the planet, right down to a creature, is thinking. Like that creature that stalks another animal, I'm going to get it because I'm thinking about it. And I got a split second to jump out there and chase it down, or me and my herd to chase it down. And sometimes the recipient or the target might be swift enough and fast enough to outrun the herd and think, okay, I'm coming to a body of water. I know those animals don't like to swim, but they're going to run around me. But I can swim for a longer stretch of time. And they're not going to jump in the water. And I may have to leave my zone, but I can leave it. These things happen in nature. These things happen in real life, just between people in human form. So we're always thinking about something that needs to change in our life. And what would that thing be? Get my mic up here. What would that thing be? What should I do to make the necessary changes work for myself? I'm gonna have to hold my phone. For some reason, it knocks my mic off. So we want to start thinking about what that is. We want to start giving it some thought and giving it some feeling behind it as well. Because as we begin to understand these things, our emotional intentions also fit into the soup. We got the thought, we can get a clear thought process going on, but can we match our feeling together with it? Reverend Ike used to say, let the feeling get the blessing. He said, it's not your thought. You could think all day you want a shiny new car, a brand new a set of clothes or shoes, or you want a house, or you want a new job. You can think and think and think and think and think. He said, well, then you got to make it plain. You got to write it down. He said, but as much as you begin to write it down, now you got to put your emotional content into this. Like, how does it make you feel if you could have something that you've always wanted? If you could go through the process to get that thing that you've always wanted. I'll give you an example. When I was younger, about 15 or 16, learning how to teach myself how to play a guitar, because I thought at one point I might get involved with local neighborhood children with bands like R&B groups. And my mother said, let's go to the music store. And when we go to the music store, I want you to pick three guitars, three electric guitars you think you might want. Now, my mom was slick. She had one in mind already. She was looking at the brand name called Gretsch, Gretch. They made some beautiful, beautiful F hollow guitars, double F hollow guitars, they call them. They had a slim, thickness to them. But the only thing was I had small hands and the necks were wide. So I couldn't get my hand all the way around tight enough to get bar chords in. I could play single notes, but I couldn't get them all in. So that one happened to be the prettiest one, which that one that she chose. She chose the top of the line because it was white with a pearl essence design in it. It was trimmed in 24 karat gold almost. It gave that appearance. And the trim was maybe fake gold, but the guitar pickups were real gold, trimmed around 24 karat gold. I said, if I wear that up on stage, somebody will attack me, take this guitar and go home. And she said, stop putting that thought out into the universe. You could have this guitar, but you're going to have good grades. So I said, well, what are the good grades? You're going to have to score A's throughout your junior into your senior year. Then I'll get you that guitar. I was striving. I was striving. My mother was like, "You got to keep striving." So I would go get other makes and models. So I get these pictures, right? I ordered the catalog, the Gibson catalog. I would order it, and it would come to the house. And she saw that I was striving to dream. That's what she noticed. I was finally dreaming. So I chose a Trini Lopez double F model. Had a narrower neck, but the guitar I really fell in love with, oh my God, it was put out by a company called Custom, Kustom. Now, I don't remember the serial number, but it was one of the first electric guitars on the market that was both hollow at the top and solid halfway going down the bottom. So if you stood the guitar up, that which was what you were looking at to the right as you're facing it, that whole side was solid, but the other side wasn't. So when you put the strap on, it had some weight, but when you start slinging it and moving around, you couldn't even feel the weight. And it had a beautiful mixture of tone from a high pitch to a low pitch. But here was the kicker, that neck had a lower action than the other two, which means all I had to do was press it and it was making the sound. And it was slightly narrower. And when I was looking at it, the guy said, "Well, look, let me see your hand. Let me see how your hand goes around." He says, "You can order a custom made neck just to fit your hand, young man." And I said, "Ah." So, of course, I told my mom, I said, "I know the Gretsch guitar you want me to have is what? $1,500. We'd have to insure it." She said, "Well, how much does the Gibson cost?" The Gibson is 800. And at one point, here's the kicker. At one point, I had it. I actually had it later, but I actually had the opportunity to have the custom. Why? Because the custom looked like wood, polished wood, looked like a floor that you would walk on. You could literally see your reflection in it. And when my mother saw how much I loved that guitar, I didn't know that she was making a special arrangement with the owner of that particular Sam Ash store. So when it came to whatever my birthday was in the spring of March of 19, what is that? That put me about 19. I graduated from high school 70, so 69, spring of 1969. She says, "We're gonna do this. Your dad, your father is wanting something. Yeah, man. Gibson was one of the top lines next to Gretsch. Actually, Gibson was you either had a Gibson guitar or you had a Fender, one of the two. And Fenders had a lot of different styles, but they didn't have the particular style that I wanted. So yeah, back then it was like $800. It was Trini Lopez was a Spanish guy that played some guitar with Herb Albert and many other people back in the day. Herb Albert was a trumpet player, and Trini Lopez played a lot of bossa nova music as well. And so he had a Pacific style, and I had that style when I went and played with the Crimson Five. But I had the backup guitar that I played for certain functions, and it was the custom guitar. And the custom guitar was at that time half the price. It was $400. So my mom and dad got together and said, "You know what? He can get two guitars for 1,200, and we might be able to, bargain to get it down." Because some of those guys would bring their amplifiers because they were all musicians. They would bring their amplifiers to my dad's shop. My dad was a radio and TV repairman, but he could fix guitar amps too. He could soup them up like people soup up a car. So my father did that a lot. And next thing I know, I walked into that store and all the kids were like, "Ah, he got the Trini Lopez and the custom semi-hollow body guitar." And I walked out of there like George Jefferson. I had moved on up to the big apartment in the deluxe apartment in the sky. I had two guitars, and I only brought the custom out every now and then, only because the guys that I practice with, they talked me into leaving my custom amp in their basement where I was practicing with the band and my Trini Lopez. And one day I happened to come by there, and their father was yelling and screaming at him. He said, "You should be using that guy's equipment." And they were saying, "Oh, it'd be okay, Dad. It'd be okay." I say, "Hey, DMJ, DJM, how you doing?" They would say, "Oh, nothing." And one day my amp wasn't working right because they were pounding on the reverb. My guitar was getting scratched up. So I would leave that guitar in their house as a guitar that I could play. And then eventually I'd bring it out, had to get it repolished and restringed because they were just playing on it all the time. They played on everybody's instruments. And they were doing organs and drums with their instruments, two of the guys. So I figured, raise the vibration, got the guitar. That's what raised the grades to get the guitar. I raised the grades so well and got citizenships awards and all of that, that dad bought the Gretsch, or the Gibson rather, and mom bought the custom guitar. Hey, I did pretty good. I came out pretty well. $1,200, 400 for the custom, and 800 for that because they knew my father. He was a good radio and TV repairman. So I say that as an example. Is this something that you want? You can go get it. As a child, you probably did it anyway. You probably wanted a bike. So you go by the bike shop every day, looking at the bike, and if they got to know that you weren't going to walk away with the bike, you probably could like sit on the bike. And when you go out and shop and get a car, you give them your driver's license, right? They hold on to your license. They put somebody in the car with you, right? And now you can drive the car. Why? You can get into the groove of what that car feels like, what it smells like, right? You get the leather scent going in your head. You know you want that car. You hear what the car sounds like. You know you want that car. You feel how comfortable the car is. You know that you want that car. There was a little story one time in what they call the Unity Church, which is a metaphysical church. They have one of their magazines that would come out every month. The same way with the Science of Mind, Ernest Holmes teachings, they would have a monthly magazine. And it was about this guy who passed over. When this guy passed over, transitioned, he called himself walking around with the angels. This is how the story goes. He's walking around with the angels. Angels takes him into this huge building made out of marble, looks like a warehouse. And he's like looking in, but not walking into the rooms, but just peering into the rooms. Rooms are loaded with sculpture and artwork of all kinds. There was musical instruments of all in a whole nother room. There were pictures of homes and things. You saw all of that, but there was one room where the door was just cracked open like this. And they kind of walked past it. And he tugged on the angel and said, "Hey, what's in that room? I want to see what's in there." He said, "You sure?" He said, "Yeah, man, I want to see what's in there." Open it up, hundreds. It's like miles of cars. And he's walking and he's walking and he's looking. And he noticed that each card has a name tag on the car with someone's name on it. Walking a little further, he sees the car that he always wanted to have sitting in this big like showroom, kind of warehouse. And it had his name on it. And it was a Mercedes Benz, top of the line. And he looks at the angel and says, "Hey, I've always wanted this car. How come it's still sitting here? How come the creator didn't answer my prayer?" The angel looked at him and said, "Sir, he did answer your prayer." He said, "No, he didn't. He didn't answer my prayer. That's the car that I wanted." He said, "No, you kept asking for that car, but you didn't have the patience for things to unfold properly so that you could receive the car. So you dropped your vibration and you asked for something lower." "Yeah, I always kept seeing these used cars." He said, "Because that's what you thought you actually deserved. There was no way in your heart and mind that you said that you deserve a top of the line, best of the model, Mercedes Benz. You opted out for some used lemons and you got comfortable with it, and you notice that's all you kept getting. So it's sort of like that. People go through things and we kind of cheat ourselves out of an opportunity. So just like my brother over here in Cali said, Holly Hemmett said, he was looking for what? His desires, working to become even more consistent. That story talks about consistency. More disciplined. That story talks about being a disciplined person. That story talks about being more focused. Just like Reverend Ike said, first you got to decide what it is that you want. Then you got to go after it, but you got to have discipline. And also you need to have patience because sometimes not everything lines up exactly the way that you want it. But you have to have faith that you're going to get it. You're going to have faith that the universe is going to arrange everything so that you can get it. I always like to quote my new buddy, my new mentor, my new teacher, Reverend Michael Bernard Beckwith. He often says, with that discipline and focus that you have and faith and being consistent, sometimes also it's not in the asking of what you want, of the material thing. It is the qualification of it. And that's what Holly is stating. He's qualifying it first with discipline, consistency, and focus. So the more that you can do that, the more of what? Opportunity that you get to go after the thing that you want. Michael Bernard Beckwith says, all you got to do is don't chase it. He says you got to work on a consistent prayer, consistent meditation. In fact, turn the prayer and the meditation into a viable, vibrant intention and focus on that. And if you can focus on that and get the feeling, like Reverend Ike would say, let the feeling get the blessing. If you begin to feel it, then what happens is you stand a good chance of receiving it without any problem. I know there's certain things I have to do. We all got bills to make. I put in my mind the past 10 years taking care of this bill, taking forever to pay. But guess what? The money always shows up. And I always get the money within at least 10 days before the money order has to go out. That's what he calls the universe is not working against you, is working on your behalf. Because the minute you state, I have this thing, without worry or anxiety, all your needs are met without worry or anxiety. In fact, he told me today he's watching how I'm doing things now, how I'm writing things. And he says, you know what? You're more than enough. You're not just enough. You are now becoming that which you're asking to become, to be. So if you want to think about it, what you want to do is anything you're seeking, you got to feel it first. You got to have the thought. And if it doesn't feel right, don't pursue it. Don't pursue it. If you're not feeling well enough to do something, you might as well just lay down and get some rest. If you don't feel like putting in the work or the effort, and it's not so much how much effort, how much work you put in, it's how you do it. It's not the quantity, it's the quality of your thoughts, it's the quality of your feelings. You're looking at the value. How valuable is this to you? As well as how valuable you are to receive it. It took me a while, past 6 months, to get that straight in my head. It's not always the quantity, it's the quality of the thing. So I focus on the quality of the thing and I see if that registers with my feeling. What do I feel in my heart about it? Do I feel good? Do I feel great? It's like when you are invited to a party or a formal situation. You know how you walk into something that's formal. Hey there, Ray. So when you like walk into this thing, you walk into a huge gathering, and what do you see? Oh, those people got fancy cars. All those people got beautiful gowns and tuxedos on. I just look average. Well, guess what? The person that appears to be average, who understands their self worth in that very moment, deserves to be in that room. Now, other people might feel uncomfortable because they never seen that person before. Oh, they don't dress like they do. It's not the attire that they have on. It's the light, the quality of light that's flowing. First, the light's got to be on the inside. When the light's on the inside of the person, it begins to do what? It begins to vibrate. That's what the heart is preparing us for. The trillions of cells in your body, they begin to vibrate. And if the right quality of energy is built up in the body, it will sooner or later manifest into the person's aura. Now, when that person's walking around, I say, hey, that person looks different. Who's that guy? Who's that woman over there? Who's that child over there? They look different. Let me go over there and see. Now, while they're coming to you, are you maintaining that vibration? Are you holding on to that, the value of that vibration? Because if you are, you will magnetize the whole area and everybody will be coming and talking to you. You don't even know who they are, but you know that they can see your light. They can understand your light. They can feel the presence of your light. Once they have that, once they know that, once they are that, because sometimes people can ask you a question, but they may not be the question that they're asking. Have you ever had that? Somebody tries to throw you off your base, so to speak. So they're going to ask you a question. But if you are in tune with the element within yourself, the greatest presence inside of you, then no matter what that person asks, it will not throw you off base. In fact, what they ask you will bounce off of you back to them, and now they're off base. And you're not trying to push them off base. You're just holding what? Your own. Your hold. One of the parts of this course that I'm going to be teaching that's for 8 weeks, I have a section in there at the very end. And it says something about anchoring and something about being a visionary. And that's two different qualities. And you can actually have both of those qualities. But it comes after you know who you are. Once you know who you are, then you become that which you are talking about. Others can feel it because you are now radiating that energy from the inside out. It's vibrating like this, along with your heartbeat. That's a vibration. In and out, in and out, in and out, all the way around. Everything in your body, like a ricochet, like a domino effect, is doing that. And as it does that, and you stay on the cord of the light as it does it, then you start to actualize it. That's why I wrote my book, This Radiant Heart, the 7 amazing pathways to do what? Connect. I mean, you got to do the research to find it, to connect with it, then activate. That means you know it now. It's not just a quantity of stuff, it's the quality of the stuff that you're radiating with, that you're becoming in harmony with, that you're matching. And then what happens? You start communicating with the higher self. Why? Because you met its frequency. No matter how high and how big and how grandiose and how poetic and how colorful your higher self is, you're going to match it. Because the higher self is much bigger than you. That's you, much bigger than you. And once you begin to match it, carry the same frequency of that vibration inside, then all the doors open up to you. Everything unfolds. People now see your beauty. People see the level of understanding that you have. People see the level of compassion that you carry. People see your light. And guess what? You're not going to be able to hide the light. It's natural. They're going to see it. And if it's meant for them to see it, they will feel it first long before they see it. That's what happens. So here are a few things that you might be asking for: peace, love, relationship, whether it's a new relationship or you have a relationship that needs to be healed and corrected, more money, which is increased income for some people, better opportunities, better arrangements to have better opportunities, better health and wellness, new circle of friends, be it business, social friends, or maybe you meet some relatives you haven't seen in a while, or some that you don't even know that you have, and all of a sudden you all are drawn to each other. Happiness, joy, compassion, greater infinite grace, understanding, or like the latest crowd of hipsters say, not only understand but overstand. And someone told me, yeah, equal standing. Okay. We know what we are desiring. We're reaching out to the heights, the greatest heights that we can. Or we say this or something better. People that work with the Center of Living and the Unity churches, that's what they say after an affirmative prayer. This or something better. When you say that, you're saying that because you don't know exactly what the thing is that you're asking for all the time. So to keep it from being limited, then you say this or something better, which means you leave it on in the hands of your higher self and the higher self into the universe to bring you the right quality. Somebody can get 10 peanuts and somebody gets one. Maybe said, why is that person drawing a crowd that's marveled over the one peanut? The one peanut's got a little bit more energy than 10. Start to look at the peanut, it looks different. It radiates a different frequency of light. So it's the same with our thoughts. Sometimes, though, which is the story that I injected about the guy being in the palace of heaven, so to speak, and then seeing his car in the warehouse and asked the angel, how come I didn't get the car? They said, you didn't believe that you were going to get the car. You didn't have the focus to get it. You didn't have the discipline, and you didn't know what else to do. So you kind of let that thought go, and you went down a notch to the lemon. So it's the same thing right here. Sometimes we waver or vacillate because of past experiences. Many of us have experienced that, where someone told you, "Oh, why do you want that house in that neighborhood? Oh, why do you want that Pacific car or that bike or that motorbike? Oh, why do you want that guitar or violin? Why do you want that sporting equipment? Why don't you go get some Spalding footballs? Why do you want that?" Because that person wants you to get something according to their taste, but it may not match your vibration. You may not feel comfortable with it. So many times we go through the experiences of not having something that we actually wanted. Many times we did not believe we could attain it. Who or what are we asking or praying to in the first place? That's the question. My beloved brother Michael Bernard Beckwith says, you're not praying to the fictitious man in the sky. The prayer is to yourself, to your higher self. You're creating the vibration with your higher self, and enough of the vibration, what creates a frequency that begins to what resonate outside your body. So you're asking not your ego self, you're asking your ego to step to the side and come in alignment with your higher self. That's the part of you that's known for trillions of gazillions of septillion years how to go do something. This is why they tell us, read books more rather than, watching too much TV, and especially don't watch too much horror flicks, right? Because that gets stuck in your mind. Fears get stuck in your mind. Hey, Linda, how you doing? Glad to see you here. So many times we get confronted with fears. Many times we get confronted with doubts, illusions. We can't seem to make up our mind. We don't change things properly for ourselves. So perhaps we are using our words to remind us that all and everything that's alive and well, that's living, lives on the inside of us. That's what we are. That's why it's so important to understand the word being, Being. What are we being today? What are we doing today? We're making an action, see? What are we striving to do today? What do we want to be today? What do we want to have today? Do we have enough of what we want in order to be what we want today and be able to do what we want to do today? It's a revolving circle that goes around and around and around. Hello there, Miss Yo Brooks 7475. Wave you in here. So often we're going through this. Alan Empress, how you doing? We are going through things all the time. Sometimes we get tired though. Sometimes we get tired of carrying the burden of the thought of the thing that we want to acquire. Either we're not being boosted up by those who can help boost us up, or maybe they're tired too. So sometimes you can't depend on others who are equally tired, like yourself, to boost you up. They can give you some kind words. They can give you a word that triggers you to do something. But in reality, it's on you. And what we have to do is find that place of solace, of peace, of serenity first. Find that place. Find that place called joy and happiness in ourselves. Find those two. The third one, you're worthy. You're not going to let your mind sabotage you. That's the ego will sabotage you. Other people, even your ego's not around, other people will try to sabotage you. People will tell you, oh, that don't work. Nobody in our family does that. Why are you trying to do that? And if you believe it, you won't ever look for it. You won't ever strive to do it. You won't ever have the accomplishment to do it. And then what happens? You're caught in like the hamster wheel, the cycle, running and spinning your wheels, but not getting outside the cage. Because someone told you, in our family, we don't do that. This is what we do. Everybody in this family is a doctor. Everybody in this family are doctors and lawyers. Everybody in this family are doctors, lawyers, policemen, policewomen, and fire cadets. That's all we do here. Not only do that, we serve in the military and we go after these positions in the military where we can become the captains and the lieutenants and the colonels and eventually a general. But in the meantime, the person that got pushed through all those hurdles is never feeling correct. They feel tired all the time. Because whatever they're doing it for the people before them who did well in those positions. But that person that's being pushed into that position is not feeling it. In fact, they are failing in the position. And they're failing rather drastically. And this is where sometimes parents have to let their children become what they want to become. And yes, you're there to make sure they don't do anything that violates themselves, that hurts themselves, that demeans themselves. You're there to make sure that they're not doing that and that they're not acquiring those kind of personalities that would bully them into doing those things. So you're always helping them what? Maintain a sense of balance and clarity in their mind and in their feelings, to be pure, pure of heart, so to speak. to know that it's okay. They're going to fail sometimes, but through all the failure becomes all the growth, becomes all the opportunity to fail again until one day you're not failing anymore because you done been through the puzzle piece so many times. You know what to expect and you know what to do and what not to do. You know how to respond and yet stand still. And sometimes you've got to read the person's vibration before they get too close to you. You have to read their vibration before they get too close to you. I'll say that again. You got to read everybody's vibration before you get close to them because you want to make sure you're in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing, speaking the right words, feeling the right way, and receiving that which is right and correct for you. That matches your vibration, matches your resonance, or known as your radiance or your frequency. So, my question again is if there's something you desire to have right now, what would that be? And that question means you can ask something material. You can ask for things that happen before you receive that material thing. All the bases are covered, all the doors are open in your direction. You feel a sense of great courage to go through the door in the first place. You didn't know before, but now you know you'd call in your ancestors to encircle you to make sure that you get to your destination clearly, cleanly, without further delay, without any hassles, without any obstacles. And then your ancestors and spirit guides may tell you, well, you're going to have some now. And I'm going to be having mine too, just to try to keep you on track. So I'm going to need you to be willing to always take that next step when I tell you, go for it now. You got to go for it. Can't wait. Or the higher self might tell you, let's wait right here. And you're saying, I feel like I gotta go. And your higher self is telling you, well, you can go, but you're gonna run into more traffic and more downsized personalities and lower energies. And then by the time you get through it to get to the final destination, you're too tired to enjoy it. You're too tired to receive things that you're supposed to get because now you just push them away because you don't care, because you're just exhausted. And this is when it comes to a point that sometimes we have beautiful thoughts and ideas that come to us, but we can't share them with everybody. Especially if you got a lot of naysayers and haters around. You can't share these things. Why? Because they will talk you out of the opportunity that you woke up with to go forward. But they don't talk you out of it. Halfway through the day, they don't talk you out. Or you shared it with them too early in the day where your heart was open. I didn't crush the idea and crush the heart. You can't bring it up again. And now you're totally frustrated. So, yeah, you're going to have to do some things different. You don't want to vacillate anymore. But at the same time, you can't share your deepest thoughts with everybody because not everybody's going to go in the same direction you're going in. And some don't want to go anywhere. Some just want to influence or interrupt or break up opportunity around you. So it's important to recognize yourself as a spiritual sentient being. That spiritual means you got the light, eternal light already. You're inspired by the greatest of the greatest, that is the more infinite light than yourself. Sentient means that you have sense awareness and can feel 365 degrees or 360, 720, 1440 degrees. You can feel all these things and you know where they're going, but you can feel it in advance and you know exactly what you're going to do. I was watching something the other day and had Dion's youngest son, Shador Sanders, and he was sitting like in a locker room. And people, you couldn't see the people behind him. He was looking at something. And I thought he was disturbed by what he was hearing. But the caption read, he's been doing this entire life, blocking out sound. People yelling, screaming, top of their lungs, as loud as they could be, and he wasn't responding. Facial features weren't responding. His eyebrow didn't go up, his eyes didn't flash or bulge forward. He didn't go like this or nothing. He just sat there peacefully undisturbed. An athlete who used to do that as well was Tiger Woods. His father would take him on a golf course, play at night. He said, why am I not here playing at night? Because there's going to be some competition where you tie and you got to keep going until somebody sinks a putt or don't sink a putt. And it's getting dark out. And then there's a day where he's just going to throw balls in front of him before he putts, before he strikes a ball 200, 300, 400 yards away. He throws things in front of him, throws things around him, walks in front of him, yells, stand right next to him, scream in his ear. He's not responding. That's discipline. Disciplining the mind and the emotions and the body. If someone says something, you're going to flinch. You don't want to flinch. In fact, as a young man, he got to the point where he turned to his father and laughed because he overcame the reaction that he normally would have had. But he was disciplined, he was highly focused, and he was in control of himself, and he did it consistently. It becomes second nature. These things are necessary for us to replay over and over in our mind so we learn how to have better control over ourselves, make proper decisions for ourselves, do the right thing for ourselves, because whatever we're doing, it signifies a sense of value. It explains who we are. How much value do we give ourselves? How many times do you wake up and tell yourself, I love you? How many times you get up and say, I'm not doing that? How many times you keep saying, I'm not doing that? It starts weighing out the other thing. So all I'm saying is begin to detail what it is that you exactly want. In order to energize it, you got to put all your love into it. You got to put all of the images that you see yourself utilizing that thing which you're looking at successfully. You got to see people on the other end embracing you, high-fiving you, shaking your hands, patting you on the back, giving you a hug and saying, congratulations to you. You have arrived and you have attained what you said you were going to attain. You got to make sure you're ready. So we must vibrate our understanding and radiate our being and knowing as we are present in this present moment. Whatever we're doing to raise our vibration has to happen now. Then close your eyes and inhale deeply, and remember, we are all a deeper part of the living presence called I am. So with that in mind, if you'd like to participate, I would like you to close your eyes wherever you're at right now. And I want you to inhale through the nose and release the breath through the mouth about 4 times. That's 1. Here's number 2. Inhale. Exhale. Allow that inhalation and exhalation to make you feel good, that you've accomplished something. And then you do it several more times. You can also put your hand out to the side and feel like you're sweeping something up, holding it, and then releasing, exhaling through the mouth or the nose, whichever is best for this moment, and just bring the hands down with the thumb facing you. That's the will of your mind, the will of the action. It's going to work for you because you lifted it up and you brought it inside. You're no longer being programmed by an outside force that tells you you can't do what you're seeking to do for yourself. It may take a little longer, but you're still doing it. And you're still prospering abundantly from it. And prosperity and abundance doesn't always mean you're capturing the finance. Yeah, that too, but you're capturing everything that the finance can get. Finance can't buy quality, only quantity. So you got to seek out the best of you inside of you and keep raising the vibration. If you find a pool of light that's high, then plug into it and use it to raise your vibration. Just know that you can feel better about yourself and that you intend to feel better about yourself. You feel great about yourself because you intend to feel great about yourself. You feel happy with yourself. Why? Because you are intending that. Great joy to be always present in your life. You're expecting it literally to be present from the inside out. You're radiating it outside, you're vibrating it on the inside. We vibrate till it builds up, and then we radiate, we release, we let go of that thing that was building up and brought us more energy and more time and more opportunity. So that's my message for today. I'm here for an hour. You can replay this back. It will upload itself in about 20, 30 minutes here on Resonant Essentials YouTube channel, which is www.youtube.com / the at symbol and then RESONANTESSENTIALS. I almost dropped my phone. With the number right after the S. In Essentials, write the number 4314, and that will take you to the page and you'll be able to see it and replay it back. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to disappear as soon as I get all this equipment and all this light down for myself. I'd like to thank DJM0477 for joining me. Also, Miss Yo Brooks 7475 that joined in. Thank you very much. Over here, Stoked Culture, Holly Hemmett, Will Talk Entertainment. Who else was here? Ray Heitman was here. Linda Garcia was here. Barbara Ewing was here, better known as Island Express. And I bet you, Indigo Moon is in here too. She's usually floating in the background somewhere. Thank you, everybody, for showing up and being supportive. And I'm looking forward to be here next week at the same time. Got on today right at 1:00 and it fit right in. Yes, yes. Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day. Great tomorrow. Great Saturday. I'm going to do something I normally don't do, but I needed to do it. I'm taking off this Saturday and next Saturday from teaching meditation at Resonant Essentials Esoteric School of Metaphysics. So I can get some rest for myself. Thank you, Linda Garcia. Yes, you was here. Indigo Moon said, I am. I know you were in there somewhere. Thank everybody for listening and watching and replay this back. And if you have any questions, you can email me at iam.circleofgrace1@gmail.com or any comments you want to make about today's show. And if you want to ask more about the new 8-week online course that starts on Wednesday, July the 2nd, and runs through August the 20th. And that course is called, and what it is, it's 8 classes, 8 consecutive classes, but each class is going to be taught like a workshop. So I'm going to have some exercises to offer you in there. But it is entitled, it is my latest course created called Clear Blue Radiance is the Light Within. And that's going to kick off on July 2nd of 2025, which is a Wednesday. And I think I'm kicking it off at, I think, 6:30 or 6 p.m. But send me an email, and then I can tell you exactly when it starts, and I can tell you the cost of it. It's going to be in the neighborhood of $440, but I'll give you some installment ranges that you could pay, so you have to do it all in one shot. Anyway, take good care of yourself. I'm out of here. Have a good day. See you all real soon, like next week. Let me sign out of Instagram. Okay, there we go. Oh. All right, everybody. I'm signing out of here. I feel a little Rio Grande-ish. Where did I go? There I am.